All right, hello, Miss Evelyn. So let's start our lecture. Now, it was already announced to the students that they should come and join the session, but it looks like some of them are kind of, let's say, a little bit busy or something like that. So if they're going to come, we will let them in, but if they're not going to come, it's totally up to them. I've announced in the group already. So yes, I hope my sound and my video, everything's clear to you.
Yes, everything is clear.
Everything's clear to you, right? Perfect. So in that case, we're just gonna start the lecture as the lecture is already recorded, so no worries, even if it's you. So I will be starting the lecture. All right. So Miss Evelyn, any question regarding to the yesterday's lesson that we had?
No, 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 no.
All
It
right.
was really, really clear and straight to the point. So I don't think I have any questions.
Okay. Perfect. That's cool. That's amazing. Hello, Mr. Dan. I welcome you. Mr. Dan is also here with us. That's more perfect. That's more great. All right. So yesterday we did went through the listening session, the basics of the listening session, that what we're going to be expecting in the IELTS General UKVIE exam, all the listening points, right? So today we're going to be focusing on the speaking exam, right? The speaking part of the IELTS exam. And just to give you a little bit clear understanding of that, so let me just like write down some basic things that we have to do. So first of all, I'll be telling you the pattern, all right? So again, my dear students, again, what's going to be happening is that the same exam, this exam is again going to be marked from 0 to 9, okay? I hope you guys can see my screen. No, 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 wait, I haven't shared my screen yet. Let me share my screen with you. Sorry for that. So yes, please give me confirmation. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes,
Okay,
I
perfect.
can see your screen.
Okay, perfect. You guys can see my screen. That's great. So yes, as I was saying this thing, that in this scenario, what we're going to be doing is that I'll be explaining you the basic criteria of the speaking exam of the IELTS, all right? So let me just clear this thing out and write here speaking exam pattern, okay? Speaking exam pattern, all right? So in the speaking exam, what's going to be happening that you will be giving score again as per the same rules from 0 to 9. The 0 is the inclining to 0, the score is something that we don't want, but increasing towards 9 is something that we want, right? So now, speaking further into that, going further into that, that this test is based on three different parts, all right? There are three different parts. So let's say we have part one. Okay. Now in part one, before going further into details, we're just going to be focusing on part one right now. So in part one, dear students, what will be happening is that you will be asked some basic questions, all right? Some basic questions. Now in these basic questions, the question can vary. It depends on really on the examiner that what kind of basic questions the examiner is asking you. The examiner, let's say, can ask you regarding to yourself, right? It should be yourself. That please tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell us where you live. Tell about city. Tell about your family. Or maybe the examiner can ask you that tell something special. Tell something special about your city, or some really basic questions as per that. But in these classes, the things that we are going to be studying are always going to be related to some topic. Okay, maybe sometimes we're going to be discussing the topics regarding to toys. Maybe we're sometimes you're going to be discussing about music. All right, maybe sometimes we're going to be discussing about who knows, maybe vacation, all right? It could be any topic, all right? And each topic is probably gonna, let's say, have uh 4 to 5 questions, all right? Now you guys can have a question from me here. You guys can ask me a question that, Mr. Shayan, if the examiners are going to ask us some basic questions based on the information that you have given right here, right us, oh sorry, given us right here. Let me scroll it down a little bit regarding to all these basic things, right? Then why in the book, why in the official IELTS books, why they're some particular topics that we're going to be talking here. The reason behind that is just to make sure, just to develop your ability to answer whatever the question that is going to come that is going to come forward to you. That's going to be put it before you. Okay, they and that's why they have given these multiple different kind of topics over there. Okay, now furthermore, then you will be giving a score from 0 to 9. All right, now any question in this until now, Mr. Dan and Miss Evelyn? Oh yes, please go on.
Yes, my question is, if you have this speaking exam, do they give you a list of topics to choose from, or it is just a random topic that you're given?
Oh, uh, you never know. You never know. That thing is not revealed to you. And in the part one, you don't get any time to prepare. For example, Miss Evelyn, if I ask a question all of a sudden that Miss Evelyn, can you please tell that how are your relationships with your neighbors? So you have to just answer out of nowhere. Even though if you, let's say, live in the desert and you don't have any neighbors, but still you have to but still if you have to come with an answer, all right, whether negative, whether positive, but it should have some information.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yes, it's really easy. When we're going to be practicing on this, it's going to be super easy. You will also get excited regarding to that. So if everything's clear until now, so let me show you the prompt that how do they look like and how do they sound like, all right? So let me open my folder and my files, IELTS topics, book 3, test 1. So check this out. Only focus on part number 1, okay? So for example here, oh, Mr. Dan is having a question. Yes, Mr. Dan.
My question was, when you're doing exam for like speaking, is there any other person in the room who asks you the questions, or they just give you the paper and you record them, or they're done live with someone?
No. You are having another person in the room who is just sitting next to you, all right? Depends on the COVID-19 regulatory policies, right? There's another person in the room. He or she is sitting with you, and that person is your examiner, who is IELTS Cambridge certified examiner, all right? And he or she asks you these questions. For example, it's just going to be exactly like we're doing right now. For example, hello, Mr. Dan. I hope you're doing great. So, Mr. Dan, let's start the IELTS test. And this is part number 1. So, the question number 1 is that do you have a large family or a small family? So, that's how this is going to go on. And that's how the pattern will be. All right?
Yes.
Okay, exactly. So, is that clear to you? I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. Yeah, you answered it. Yeah, thank
Okay,
you.
you're welcome, Mr. Dan. Okay, so guys, now check this out. Now, these are the questions from part number 1. For example, do you have a large family or do you have a small family? Can you tell me something about them? How much time do you manage to spend with the members of your family? What sorts of things do you like to do together? Do you get on well with your family? Okay, so you should notice this thing. You should notice this thing because this thing is only mentioned in the books that at the end of, all right, let me choose some other color which is quite visible to you. So if you see here, it's written why, right? Why? So they're not going to be asking you why in the end, but you have to always imagine and you have to always keep in mind that imaginary that at the end of each question there is a why written, which is imaginative, right? Or it's why, or let's say if you're giving a negative answer, so it will be why not? Why not? For example, do you have a large family or a small family? So there's no, let's say, option of why not here, okay? So for example, how much time do you manage to spend with the members of your family? All right. So maybe you say that, or maybe here the question is in the end it's written why, but the examiner is not going to tell you why. It's not going to say make the why part of their question. They're just going to ask straight question. But you have to always come with an example. Oh, sorry, you have to always come with a reason. Okay, now whether a positive reason, whether a negative reason. For example, the examiner asks you this question that do you like your hometown? Why and why not? Now, examiner is not going to say why and why not. But let's say if you say that no, I don't like my I definitely don't like my hometown. But why not? Then why not? Then you have to give an example. You will add by giving an example, adding by a conjunction. All right, we're definitely going to study the conjunctions. All right, conjunctions. We're going to be studying conjunctions as well. Then you have to add the factor of the word because. Because, and then your reason. Because this is the reason. All right. For example, anyway, if anyone asks me the same question that, Mr. Cheyenne, do you think that education is important for everyone? Maybe I will say, or let's say, let's make it more neutralize that. Do you think to do business, education is really important? Uh, why and why not? If yes, then why? If no, then why not? This thing, examiner is not going to say. The examiner is just going to ask you that, Mr. Cheyenne, do you think that education is necessary in order to do business? Maybe my opinion is going to be that no, it's not necessary. Okay, so I might answer that. That's a really interesting question. I can give a compliment to the examiner. I can definitely give a compliment to the examiner. Okay, so I might start my answer by giving by saying this that that's a really interesting question. In my opinion, I don't think so that it's really important because in today's world, everything is available on internet. It's not necessary that you should always go and earn a degree or you must have a college diploma, but there are many things and many courses that you can go through online and learn the basic skills that you need in order to do a effective business, in order to generate a good income. And once you do that, you can pass on that information to other people as well. So did you notice how did I say that, and what kind of selection of vocabulary I was doing as well? I wasn't speaking so fancy, beautiful, difficult Oxford English vocabulary. My vocabulary was still, let's say, all right, not so special, but at least it was not basic. It was not basic. Okay? So the best thing that you can do to improve your vocabulary is just focus on the synonyms, all right? Focus on the synonyms, all right? So whatever the word that you have, try to find the synonym of that word. For example, you have a word good, you know the word good, find an alternative of that. It could be spectacular, it could be marvelous, it could be star-strucking, it could be excellent, it could be many, many different things. All right. So that's how you need to, let's say, focus this thing in that perspective. All right. So I hope I made myself clear to all of you. All right. So yeah, when in my classes, when I usually say this, I hope I made myself clear. So someone of you, or maybe all of you, can just quickly unmute your microphone and give me confirmation. Yes, yes, it's clear. And then you can mute yourselves immediately. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. At least, then I will be having a kind of confirmation and satisfaction that, oh, all right, my friend students are clear. Yes, Miss Evelyn, do you have my question?
Yes. My question is, if let's say you asked a question about your personal life, or maybe any topic,
Yeah,
do
yeah.
you really have to be truthful in your answers,
Very good.
or
Very good
there is
question.
another one?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Very good question. So yeah, sometimes it happens that the questions become a little bit controversial. Usually they don't ask anything controversial, but some examiners do, to make the situation a little bit more difficult for you to answer. Maybe you're confused that, oh my God, how I'm going to give them my such private information. All right. So the best way to do that is that no, it's not necessary that you can be always truthful with them or always be honest with them. No, but know in only that situation when you know that what other answer you can give with confidence. Okay? Because how they will be giving you a score, that thing I haven't told you that. That thing I will tell you later on. That how they will be giving you score, how you will be marked on what certain factors. All right. So when that thing we will discuss, everything will be clear to you. All right. So if you're confident in lying, no problem, go for it. The IELTS speaking exam is all about making stories, okay? But in some scenarios, in some situations, it is encouraged, okay? They always encourage that you should be using your personal life examples or your personal experiences, because when you tell someone about your personal experiences, then it's more easier to explain that. It's easier to imagine that, think that, all right? Because, when we tell someone about a story or maybe about an incident, so we are better storytellers when we are telling them about a real experience. But not everyone has this capability to lie good. No, not everyone can be a good liar, right? So it's totally up to you. It's not always necessary that you should be always truthful or all be always honest. No, not necessary. Okay. So this is regarding to part number one, and I hope the part number one is clear to all of you. The second thing, the second most important thing that here, it's good. It's good that you should give. Let's say I'm gonna write a word here. Oh boy, I don't know why it's not writing. Here you can definitely write some sufficient information, right? So okay, let me write here. So you can definitely give them sufficient information, sufficient info, all right? Not too much, all right? Don't drag it too much. No, if you're gonna drag it too much, don't do that. Not necessary, because this is part number one. And in part number one, sufficient information is enough. But if some student is thinking that the student can, expand the answer, this student can expand their answer without noticeable errors, without noticeable pauses, without breaking their fluency, go for it. I will highly encourage that. I will encourage that. But keep answers short in the first one, but not that much short. As we will do the practice, we will get to understand the information that we're the kind of information that we have to give. Okay, so that's it. That's it. No more. Let's say more explanation regarding to that. So yes, what about now? Is this clear to all of you? The part one, guys. Waiting for your confirmation. Remember what I just told you?
Part one was
Yes,
clear.
it's clear.
All right, that's great. That's awesome. Okay, we're having a few more students who are joining. Zivada Justine. Okay, good. So, all right, that was clear to all of you. Now, let's talk about let's talk about part number two. Now, in part number two, how this is different, how the part number two is different from the first part. Now, in part number two, what's going to happen that the teacher the teacher usually gives you a question. It gives you a chit, all right, a cue card, and it's your fate, it's your luck that whatever question comes out of that, all right. So the part two questions, the pattern of the part two is that the examiner asks you question in one single go. The examiner asks you in a way that describe a teacher who has influenced you in your education. The first question is that where did you met the teacher? The second question is that what subject the teacher taught you. The third is what was special about the teacher. The fourth and the final one is explain why this person influenced you so much. So these all questions the examiner will ask in one go. The examiner will ask in one go. So going further into details, right? So yeah, I hope you can hear me. Can you all hear me and see me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, let's get into the further details. So the examiner is going to ask you all in one go, and you have to answer in one go. Now, in this particular part, the examiner will give you 60 seconds, 60 seconds to prepare. And for that, the examiner is going to give you one paper, one A4 size paper, and plus one pencil. All right, one pencil and one A4 size paper. That are the things the examiner is going to give you definitely at that time. All right, then you have to prepare at that particular time. You have to go through all the information, whatever the information that you can process in the time of 60 seconds. All right. Now, when we are going to be doing that, I will be explaining you further in the details that how you need to manage only 60 seconds to prepare this whole thing. That's actually the skill that we're going to be learning in this class. All right. And then what's going to be happening that the examiner is going to ask you to now answer after 60 seconds. The examiner is going to tell you now you have 2 minutes 2 minutes to answer. Okay, usually in a book it's written that you have to speak from 1 to 2 minutes. All right, but I'm not going to confuse you guys with this 1 to 2 minutes, but just let's keep it straight that you have to speak at least for 2 minutes, and you have to make sure that in the time period of 2 minutes you're answering all the 4 questions. Don't miss out any question. All right, and you have to make sure that you are writing all the 4 questions. You're explaining, you're speaking all the 4 questions in 2 minutes. Okay, and try to answer all these questions it with a fluency. Okay, being fluent is the key to success in this part. Okay, you have to be very fluent in this one in order to make it sound like a story, and be totally natural. Be natural, because as much as natural you will be in this part, the better you will perform. Okay, so yeah guys, and yes, again here you will be scored from 0 to 9. So actually you're going to be scored from 0 to 9 in part 1, in part 2, and part 3, and then by taking out the average of all 3 parts, you will get a final score in the speaking part of the IELTS exam from 0 to 9, just like listening that we studied yesterday. So yeah guys, is it clear to all of you, or do you guys have any question until part 2? So please, you can ask me, that we can go further.
It's clear for me.
It's clear for you. All right. What about Miss Lily? What about Miss Georgina? What about Miss Lily?
It's clear.
Okay, Georgina and Evelyn.
Yeah, it's clear.
It's clear, Mr. Shayan.
Okay, cool, cool. That's awesome. That's amazing. That's really nice. Good to hear that. Okay, now moving more further with the information that we're going to be having here. Okay, now let me clear out all the drawings that we just made. Now let's talk about the part number 3, the discussion topics. All right. Now usually the part number 3, is called the follow-up question answers of part 2, because the topics are always connected. The topics are always interlinked or interconnected or similar to what you have been asked in the part 2. In part 2, we were discussing about the teacher. Here, we're discussing about education, a national education system. Okay, developments in education, a national education system, and what different methods and styles of teaching are there. So this is the information that you are getting here. All right. So now, as per that, now because this is the book, then these are the preparation notes. In this, there are 3 different topics. So you can see that there are 3 different topics. All right, and each topic is having two questions. Okay, but however, in the exam, this is not going to be the situation. In the exam, there will be only one topic, and there will be, let's say, multiple questions. Let's say 3 to 4, 4 to 5 questions for each topic. Okay, there would be only one topic that they will be asking you in part number 3. Here, just for the sake of practice, for the sake to give you different taste of different questions, different ideas, that's why we are having 3 different questions. All right. Yet again, you will be again marked here from 0 to 9, as I just told you before. Nothing's special, nothing's new in this one as well, in this information, and it's all the same. It's all the same, all right? So that's how it's going to go. Now, here's a question. If here you are not going to get any time to prepare in part 1, you're not going to get any time to prepare. The only time you're going to be getting prepare is in the part 2. Okay, now based on this information, oops, sorry, just give me a second guys. Okay, so based on this information, how part 3 is different, what is so special in part 3? Now in part 3 guys, you have to just make sure that you are answering to the questions in logical way, in rationally with rationality, okay, coming up with some more reasons, some more examples, making sure that you're sounding logical and you're supporting your answers with with proofs, with evidences. Now those evidences and proofs could be fake as well. Doesn't matter that you always have to be honest with them, but you have to speak, you have to make logic out of nothing. Okay, you have to make a logic in whatever the terms you speak and you say. And again, you will be marked from 0 to 9. So yes guys, is that information clear to all of you? Part 1 clear, part 2 clear, and part 3 clear to all of you? Okay, I hope that's clear to all of you. Perfect. Now, moving more further into that, let's have a session, all right? Let's have a speaking session, because I'm just going very, very slow that you are understanding each and everything detail with details. So yeah, before I, let's say, go any further, just wanted to ask that as per our yesterday's lecture, did you guys, let's say, practiced some listening tests? Or did you guys like open the listening test, that how it's going on, what is happening in the books? Like, did you guys practice anything? Anyone? Dan, Evelyn, Lily, Georgina?
What is the question?
My question is that yesterday, as I explained you about all the information and about everything, so is that information, so yesterday's listening test was clear to all of you? So did you guys, let's say, practice a little bit back at your home, or did you open the books? Did you go through the recordings or anything like that?
Mm, for me, about the listening part, the first questions are somehow okay, but there is where I found some tests, and the last questions, the it was a conversation, I think,
Okay.
but the answers I had, it was a story whereby they tell you a story, then you pick some words from that story. It's like a conversation between a counselor and
Okay, so it means that you did went through the books and the recordings and information that we shared yesterday. Okay, what about Evelyn? What about Georgina? What about Lily? Yes, Evelyn, first you.
Yes. No, I didn't get time. I
Okay, okay,
haven't
no
yet gone
problem.
through.
No problem, no problem. So yeah, guys, I highly request you that
if you wanted to make an appointment for the questions, you have to.
sorry Dan, can you say that again by unmuting yourself? Actually, your sound was not that much clear.
What I'm saying yesterday about the listening part, I did some practice. I found some website where they have those tests for listening. So for the first part was okay, but there is a part where you listen to a conversation between a student
Okay.
trying to schedule for counseling.
Okay.
So for me, what I thought that you have to answer the exact words you have had in the conversation.
Uh-huh.
Because that's what I thought. But to my surprise, like when after doing it, I went to check the answers. The answers was like they was too different. It's okay as long as you have understood what the conversation is, but you can still use other words to answer the questions. So what I
Yeah.
wanted to know, like with the listening part, is it that you have to answer the exact words in the conversation, or you can answer using different words as long as they mean the same thing? Thank you.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Yes, so Dan just raised a really good question right now, that he thought that whatever the recordings are being played, so you have to answer exactly the exact words. You have to write the exact words as they're speaking. So, Mr. Dan, in some situations, exact words, not at every time. Because you know what happens, that from question 0 to 10, the level of difficulty is easy. From 10 to 20, it gets a little bit higher. From 20 to 30, more higher. And the most difficult part the most difficult conversation, the most difficult part of the recording and of the listening test is from 30 to 40. The questions which you have to answer from 30 to 40. That's how they have kept the difficulty level. Okay, and when I say that the level of difficulty increases, okay, so that means their accent gets increased, their accent becomes more like a local Britisher, okay, and along with that, having said that, they're not going to give you the exact answers. They're not going to give you the exact answers. They're just going to speak in a labyrinth way, or in a way of they're speaking like something relevant to that, but you have to jot down the answer as per your understanding. So that's how you have to do it. You have to take the concept. You have to understand the concept of that spoken thing, okay? But how to score better in this? You keep on practicing. You keep on practicing. You keep on going through. You keep on making mistakes. That's how eventually you will get better in that, Mr. Den. So yes, Mr. Den, I hope I answered your question. If no, then please you can ask another one.
Yes, you answered it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And I really highly appreciate this thing that you guys are coming up with questions. It means like you guys are going through the information, you're processing that, and definitely you are coming through the information as well. Very good, very good. So now, first of all, I would like to select Miss Evelyn for today's speaking, let's say, understanding that how the speaking pattern is going to work. So Evelyn, I'm going to be starting the first question with you. Okay, so this is part 1. So Miss Evelyn, do you have a large family or a small family? Miss Evelyn, do I have you here? Oh, it looks like she's busy. So yeah, let's start with you, Mr. Den. Mr. Den, question 1, part 1, the speaking exam of IELTS General for UKVI exam. Question number 1. Do you have a large family or a small family?
Small family.
Okay, so then you don't have to answer like that. You have to answer, you have to give a complete answer. Oh, I do have a small family that consists of me, my father, and my 2 siblings, or something like that.
Okay.
Mm,
Okay, thank you.
yeah. So I'm gonna ask you this thing again, Mr. Den. Question number 1: do you have a small family or do you have a large family?
I do have a small family that consists of me, my mother, and my sister.
Very good, very good. That's how you need to answer. Question number 2, Mr. Den. Can you tell me something about them?
Yes. Now, what I wanted to ask, like, when you ask me something about them, what am I supposed to say? Like, anything about them, anything special about them, or I should have about their work, their lifestyle? What should I answer?
Whatever the best you can. Whatever the best you can. Let's have a pattern. Let's maybe you tell about the work that they do, or their current education, what they're doing, and something just like that.
Okay. So now another with how much time do you manage to spend with your members of your family? About the time, in case like I work from Monday to Sunday, can I say be like I spend most of the time at work, but I might save like to spend like 2 hours, or it's okay even if I don't talk about the work, about my schedule.
Sure, absolutely. You can tell that. You can say that.
Okay. So can we start afresh, please?
Okay. Let me ask you another question. Hey, Evelyn.
Hi. You are I'm using my phone, so
Okay.
I got call, and in between I heard you were trying to call me, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
couldn't hear you. Yes.
That's totally
What
all
was
right. No problem.
okay?
Yeah, yeah. So I was asking you these questions of the speaking session. So Mr. Den was answering right now. So I'm just kind of waiting for them to join again.
Okay.
Yep, yep. Okay, we all are here again, back. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming back again. So now, just the way I was having questions from Mr. Den, so this is going to be the exact same pattern of the IELTS General for UKVI. All right, that's going to be the pattern that how the examiners are going to be asking you these questions face to face, depending on your location and your test center. Okay, and depending on the COVID-19 policies, because due to the COVID-19 policies, in the time, let's say 6 7 months ago, depending on each country, the students were giving online exam. All right, and as they were giving the online exam, because of that scenario, the students were definitely going to the test center, but by going to the test center, still they were not able to, let's say, sit face to face with the examiner, but they had to give the exam behind the camera. Okay, but they had to go to the test center in order to use their computers and their cameras. So that's been, let's say, announced by the test center wherever you are going to sign up for the test. Okay, now let's say that okay, who would like to volunteer for part number 2? Can anyone please raise their hands? Anyone who would like to volunteer for part number 2? Okay, so you guys really want me to select you. Why don't we talk to Salma? Salma is our old student. Okay, she is here after a long time. Hello, assalamu alaikum, Salma. How are you doing?
I just joined because I was told the class was at 5, and I had set my timer for 5, so I don't know what's going on.
Okay, so we have started at 5:15, and I was telling the students about the speaking part of the IELTS exam. So are you aware of the speaking part of the IELTS exam, or this is the first time for you?
Speaking, this is the first time.
This is the first time for you. All right. So yes, you're lucky. We have recorded. This is the first time. Let's say this is also recorded, and this is also me first time explaining to everyone about the speaking. So you will listen to each and everything. So Salma, quick instructions for you. Some quick instructions for you, Salma.
Yes.
That in part number 2, I will be asking you these questions in one single go, and then you will be having 60 seconds to prepare. After preparing for after the 60 seconds, so you might have a paper and pen. You can jot down some points that you can do in 60 seconds as per the rules of the IELTS exam. Then you will be given 2 minutes to speak on that. So are you willing to do that right now with me? You can give it a try.
Hold on. Let me get my pen and paper.
Sure, no problem. Yeah, Salma, do you got it?
I can't find a pen, but I'll just answer the questions.
Okay, sure. So, describe a teacher who has influenced you in your education, where you met the teacher, what subject the teacher taught you, and what was special about the teacher, and explain why this teacher influenced you so much. So, Miss Salma, as per the rules, you have 1 minute to prepare, 60 seconds to prepare, and 2 minutes to answer. So, first, you have 60 seconds to prepare, and your 60 seconds time starts now. So all the rest other students, if you can notice right now that I have given 60 seconds to Miss Salma to prepare. Now she might be writing the points, she might be thinking. So this is exactly how this will happen in the actual exam as well. You will be giving 60 seconds to prepare. Okay, Miss Alma, the time's up. I hope you're ready.
Okay. So hello. I met my teacher in primary 6 in my primary school, and they used to teach me mathematics. The special thing about them is that they were very attentive, and everything I asked about, they made sure that they got to the point of what they were saying. And the way they influenced me is they made me believe in myself. Like whenever I felt like I was not doing the right thing, he would always make sure that I felt like I could come to him and ask him, this is not what I don't understand, and I'm not sure what I'm doing. Is there any possible way that you can help me? And he would be like, it's okay, everyone goes through that. I can help you. So don't worry about that. It happens to everyone. So this is what needs to be done. And I would, at the end of the day, I would end up passing the exam. That's when I say loving mathematics. So yeah.
Okay, Salma, you have to speak for 1 more minute. 2 minutes you have to speak.
He was very kind. He was very kind to me, and he was also very how he made me understand mathematics was very practical. It wasn't very theoretical. So it was a situation whereby I could be able to go back home and do the homework on my own, because I could remember from our discussions what he was talking about, because it was very practical. And it has gone on through my life, because I realized that these days, even when I'm studying, I understand, I comprehend more through discussing with someone else than just reading a book by myself. And I think it has impacted me very much, because it's helped me understand concepts more than before, when I would just read books and try to cram.
Okay, very good, very good. So now, Miss Salma and my dear students, you might have noticed that how Miss Salma took that 1 minute in order to prepare, and how did she answer to the question, all right? So in order to understand that thing better, now check this out. I have opened the score sheet. I haven't yet told you that how it's been scored. Now, it's scored on these factors: on your coherence, on your fluency, on your grammar, on your vocabulary, and as well as on the pronunciation. Okay, then how did you perform from 0 to 9? So now let me show you another document, Ielts speaking bands. Okay, so I hope this document is clear to all of you. All right, I'll be sharing this document with you on the WhatsApp as well. So now you might see this, you might notice here in this document that the whole scoring criteria is given. Okay, that based on the performance of the student will be given this, let's say, bands as per the performance. So as per the performance of Miss Salma, I would like to give her, let's say, 7, because let's read that. Why did I give her 7? I gave her 7 because she was able to speak at the length without noticeable effort or loss of coherence, may demonstrate some language related hesitation sometimes, or some repetitions or self corrections. So yeah, she did some repetitions and some self corrections, using a range of connectives and discourse markers with some flexibility. Okay, I didn't notice that she could use some connectives and discourse markers, but so in order to give that, she will get 6. But I think she did use that. So in order to do that, I will give her not 7, but let's say 6.5. Exactly how. Now this is just example that I'm giving you. This is just example that I'm giving you. This is how you will be marked. You will be giving marks in the exam. Okay. Now let's check her fluency. So now for let's say that she has a wide enough vocabulary. Okay, not fluency. So fluency as well. She was quite fluent as well. So here actually in this exam, they mark the fluency and coherence together. But I do it separately in the class just to make sure that the student understands their scores really deeply. So I think her fluency was just awesome. There wasn't any problem in her fluency. Yeah, in the middle, at the 1 minute she stopped, but then she went on and on. So I will again give her 6.5 in the fluency. Now let's check her grammar. Right? Was she really using some complex sentence structures? How many conjunctions she was using in that matter? And as what I have noticed that in this one as well, she was above average and she scored as 6.5. Now let's check about her vocabulary. Her vocabulary performance. Now, the 6 says that has a wide enough vocabulary to discuss topics at length and make clear and spite inner purposes, general phrases successfully. Uses vocabulary resources flexibly, discuss variety of topics, use less common idiomatic vocabulary. So in this, I will definitely give her 7 score because I really didn't find enough problems here. Okay. Now about pronunciation, I didn't have any problem with her pronunciation. I'm gonna straight away give her 7.5 in the pronunciation. All right, or maybe let's say 8. Okay, so now her average score in part 2 is 6.9, which is approximately 7, exactly like that. Now because in part 2 there's only one question, part 2 only one question, exactly like that the student will be given marks in part 1. In part 1, as we have 1 to 5 questions, and exactly like that the student will be given marks in part 3. In part 3 we also have 1 to 5 or 3 to 5 or questions like that. Okay, so yes, we have 7 students in our class. So was that clear to all of you? Did you notice that how Miss Salma was given score and how you guys will be getting score in the IELTS speaking exam? Yes. Yes, Evelyn, is it clear to you? Any confusions?
No.
No, that's clear to you. Okay, very good. Miss Salma, what about you?
It was clear. It was very clear.
It was very clear, and it was a very good score as well at the first attempt.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So, Miss Lily, was it clear to you?
Yes, it was. It was clear.
Okay. Miss Georgina, what about you?
It was clear, Mr. Shan. But
Yeah.
you said this part 2 takes how many minutes?
1 minute to prepare, 2 minutes to answer.
Oh, 2 minutes to answer. All right.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So you might have noticed that Selma stopped at 1 minute and some seconds. So I asked her that, Selma, you have to speak for at least 2 minutes, alright? So please just add more information. Now, it's not that she did a bad performance. Sometimes it happens that some students speak a little bit faster. I have this problem. I have this, dark side of mine that sometimes I speak very, very fast. And that's why I have overcome to this problem, and now I try to speak as slow as possible, especially with my students in the class, like right now. So this is the whole scenario, and this is the whole marking scheme of part number 2. So guys, yesterday we spoke about part number the listening part of the IELTS exam. Today we spoke about the speaking part of the IELTS exam, and probably in our next class we're going to be discussing about the reading or writing. We will see that which topic we will select to do that. Yes, Mr. Dan, do you have any question? Yes, sir.
What I was asking is, what if someone has a problem with, like, has a stammering problem?
What problem? What problem are you talking about?
Stammering, like, if someone is a stammer.
A stammer. Someone is a stammer. No. Don't worry about that. They give leniency on that because stammering is a natural thing. Okay, so they do give leniency on that. Don't worry. Even you know what? Even my friend from Pakistan, he had the same problem. We studied together in the university, and he was also really scared because of this thing. That man, I'm a stammerer, and I don't know how am I going to be performing in this scenario. But he did a great job. He went amazing. So all right. So yes, Georgina, you had a question.
Yes, my question again is,
Hello.
what if we finish before the 2 minutes in the final exam?
Sorry.
If we finish the speaking test before the 2 minutes?
You might lose score. You might lose a score. Okay. Score it in any of the categories, most probably in the fluency. Okay. And most probably in vocabulary, not having enough words to explain. You have to at least
Oh,
speak for 2 minutes. Yes, it's a requirement.
Mr. Shan, I have a question.
Yeah, it's Evelyn, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yes, please, Miss Evelyn.
Mrs. Georgia mentioned about how about if I finish in the 2 minutes. Now mine is how about if I'm not able to finish within the 2 minutes? Do they give me an extra minute?
They will probably stop you at the 2 minute time frame if you have failed to answer the questions. But let's say you have already answered the questions within the time frame of 2 minutes, and the you're telling about some extra information beyond 2 minutes, or maybe let's say you have already finished at 1 minute 45 seconds and you have already finished at 1 minute 50 or 55 seconds. All right, finished here means that you have answered to the questions which were asked, and now whatever the thing that you're saying, that's just a cherry on the top, going an extra mile. Okay, on that they probably don't stop you, and you don't get your marks cut on that scenario. Is that clear, Miss Evelyn?
Yes, it is. How long is the entire? What is the duration of the entire test?
The duration of the entire speaking test lasts from 15
Yes.
to 20 minutes.
Oh,
Yes. The speaking is the shortest as compared to the reading, writing, and listening. The speaking is the shortest one. Yes, Miss Evelyn. Okay. So now we have Miss Salma. Yes, Miss Salma.
I wanted to ask, are you going to be helping us with the flow of words? For example, of course, when you're in an exam, it's obvious. For me, I know I'm going to be nervous. So, like for example, even now, my sentences I always say I leave gaps. So does
Fillers.
that affect does that affect your score, or you have to have a flow with the way you're speaking?
Fillers. Very good question, Miss Salma. Fillers are not encouraged in the IELTS speaking exam. They are considered as wrong, or let's say as something which is not desirable. Okay, but however, saying taking a moment, a split second to think aloud. That's allowed. You can do as I see this thing aloud. You can do that, no problem. But not again and again, not too much. Or let's say the examiner is having an impression that a student is forgetting something, then they're gonna capture you. So yes, I hope I answered the question, Salma.
But will you help us with the flow? Just help us, not
That's why I am here.
have too many
Yes,
pauses in the
exactly. Exactly,
Okay,
exactly. We're
okay.
going to be having some separate sessions with that, and we're just going to go, with the sequence of all these four different categories: speaking, reading, writing, listening. But Salma, correct me. You were there in our writing and reading classes before, right?
Yes, this is the one I'm left with. I'm left with speaking.
Yeah, your listening is also done.
Yes,
Oh my God! So correct me if I'm wrong. That when you were there, so you are the part of the second batch, and
yes.
so when you were taking class, all the second batch students were taking class at that moment.
We used to be like 20. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, 20, 25, or let's say 16, 15,
yeah,
something like that, right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
where are they? Where are they? Yeah.
I think maybe they got placements. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
maybe
me,
most
the
of
reason
them.
why I'm able to attend today is because I decided to do my placement at night
Okay.
so that I can attend my classes. So
Okay.
maybe they got placements.
Okay, that's amazing. That's nice. Sure. And most of them have also appeared in the exam as well. And surprisingly, they got good scores as well. Let's say something beyond 6.5, something beyond
Yeah,
6.
yeah, yeah. I saw that. I was very, very happy for everyone. That's wow.
Yes.
Because me, I'm very nervous.
Yes, yes, no worry. Inshallah, hopefully you all are going to perform better in the exam. And to be very honest with all of you, uh, the score requirements for the United Kingdom visa. So, of course, me as a teacher, I always say that I want your maximum scores. I want 9, 9 out of 9 in every part, all right? That's what you have to also keep your goals as well. But even if you guys are taking 7.5, 8, 8.5, or 7, 6.5, acceptable, that's also acceptable. But just for the sake of your psychology, tell yourself that you have to get 9, not something less than 9. Only then you will be able to get 8.5, 8, 7.5, 7, 6.5. All right, because if you're just gonna say, you know what, the minimum requirement is 6.5 or 7, so I'm just gonna take that. Don't worry, I'm not gonna be worrying about 9 or 8.5. So when you're gonna say that to yourself, you're mistaking real bad. So because you never know, things do happen in the exam, in the real exam. So I don't want you all to make that same mistake. So that's why just prepare yourself psychologically that what will be your goal. Okay. All right, perfect, good. So yes, guys, look, I know this is my mistake, and I'm agreeing to this thing that I have been very, very lazy in uploading our our former lectures on my YouTube channel, because you all definitely have my WhatsApp number, and you'll probably be seeing that I've been taking classes, not only yours but my other students as well. So my whole day is busy, and luckily these are my summer vacations from my full-time job that I'm doing, right? So that's why I'm even able to again, retake your classes, again start the courses that we are having. Sometimes I'm traveling, sometimes I'm taking classes, but I'm just like editing those videos, and hopefully I will be uploading them in the nearest future, right? So guys, with that, let's conclude today's lecture, and then see you in our next class. Yes, Miss Evelyn, you're having a question. Please go on.
Mine is not a question, it is more of a concern.
Please, please.
Could you, when you're communicating that time, could you please
Yes.
at least indicate your GMT? Because if you just put 5 p.m., we understand that we are in different time zones.
Absolutely.
So you find that most people will wait for 5 p.m., my current time, yet it's not your 5 p.m. So could you please at least try to indicate your GMT so that other members can be able to calculate their time and be able to attend in time?
Thank you so much for showing your concern, Miss Evelyn. I will definitely do that. I used to do that before, but because of that, like let's say, having the classes very irregular from my side, I'm definitely gonna make sure to mention the GMTs. And some of you who are my former students in the class, so you remember I used to share a screenshot of all the countries. So yeah, give me a confirmation. Let's see, I do have that list as well of those different countries here in my phone. Give me a second, please. Okay, yeah. Lagos, Kampala, Nairobi, Lusaka, Nicosia, Harare. Is that the cities from where you guys belong? These countries? Like
Yeah,
Nigeria,
long in Kampala.
Kampala. Yeah,
I
Kampala is there
belong in
as well.
Kampala.
Yeah, yeah, Kampala is there as
Yeah.
well. Perfect, perfect. Yes, no problem. I do share, this big kind of screenshot with you guys on the page. So yes, I will make sure to do that. Miss Evelyn, thank you so much for bringing that into my concern. So I don't know if you can see this list or not. So this is how the list looks like. So that's how that GMTs are clear as per our time zones, and we all are like in sync then. Alright, dear students, then thank you so much. Now about tomorrow's time, I will mention, okay, the tomorrow's time is going to be probably a little bit different than what we are having, but I will be informing you in advance, okay? So as per that, you can think about your availability as well. All right, guys.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Sharon.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Salma. Miss Georgina, Miss Salma, Miss Evelyn, Miss Lily, Peace, Pauline, Okira, Zivada, Justine, Amanda, Dan, Namata, Rita, and all the other students who were there but have left already. Thank you so much for coming over, and then see you in our next class. Bye bye. Assalamu alaikum.
Bye.